Hello YouTube, this is Darkon633 and today I'm bringing a review of the Transformers Combiner Wars Legends Class Huffer and Pipes. Now, Huffer and Pipes were released in actually two different waves. Huffer being a figure that was released within 2015, and then we have the newly released Pipes, which should be releasing, if not already released by the time this video has been uploaded. Now, Pipes has been a subject of debate. Huffer was too, but especially Pipes, since Hasbro could have easily managed to get a pretty decent Pipes out if they decided to release it with a brand new head sculpt. Now, unfortunately, while it worked out a little better for Huffer, it didn't work out for Pipes at all since they used the same head. Now, for those who watched the Generation 1 cartoon series, it's well known that Pipes had some sort of mouth guard. And he looked completely different in terms of color, obviously, and also the way that the original one transformed in the original G1 toy line. Now, obviously, since they are repaints of each other rather than retools, the transformation is going to be the exact same thing for both of them, with no modifications whatsoever, which is a bit of a bummer. It'd be nice to at least see a new head sculpt on the Pipes, but at least as of this recording, this will probably be the best Pipes to be released in the Generations toy line. Anyways, each figure, as normal, comes with a trading card. Here's a picture of Huffer, which looks really nice. The back is the usual. Same thing with the Pipes, so at least they had a different artwork featured on the cards rather than just being a one card and then they just photoshopped it. So it's cool to at least see difference there, but it is a bit of a bummer what happened with the toys themselves. Anyways, we'll take a look at the boxes as normal. Since they're both under the Combiner Wars Legends class boxes, there isn't a whole lot of difference you're going to see from them besides obviously the character. Here's a picture of Huffer, same as featured on the card. On the back it shows a bio and the amount of steps to transform, which is 7. The same thing goes for Pipes, since obviously they are the same molds as mentioned earlier. They look really nice. This one actually transfers in 8 steps, so that's weird, actually, now looking at it, that this figure has an extra step for some reason, while the other one said 7. I do not know why it's like that. But anyways, we'll now take a look at the figures themselves. First, we're going to take a look at Huffer. As you can see, for those who aren't aware, this is indeed a retool and repaint of the older Generations Legend figure, Optimus Prime, that came with Roller. But at least now it works a little better since he does have a new head. And for those who didn't get the Legends mold, this is pretty much good for Huffer for what it is. Articulation-wise, his head does swivel 360. He has ball joints at the shoulders, which allows full range of movement there. And a little bit of outward, but due to the way that the shoulder pieces are made, there isn't a whole lot of movement outward. These pieces can be pulled outward if you want him to have these interesting looking shoulder pieces, but we will put them down for the remainder of the video. He does have ball joints at the elbows, which allow full movement, but no other articulation points on the elbows there. He has a full 360... never mind. He actually doesn't. I forgot it actually does not have waist articulation since he transforms pretty much in a very simple way there. You'll see in a minute. He has ball joints on the hips, which allows full movement. Same goes for the knees, but that's about all you're going to get for the articulation points. The back is technically supposed to be transformed down here, but in order to kind of replicate Huffer just a tad bit, even though it's not the best by any means, this works pretty okay for what it is. The same thing goes for Pipes, as we're just going to take a little close-up of it. Articulation is the same for the figure. There isn't anything modified or anything changed. You're going to get the same amount of movement as you get with Huffer. To make it easy, we're just going to show Huffer's transformation and then skip ahead to the next part of the video after we're done Huffer, since it's going to be the same for Pipes. We're going to remove the blaster, which is a bit of a shame that both Huffer, Pipes, and a few others, but I can't think of the top of my head, actually comes with a weapon, while the other Legends do not come with anything, so it's a bit of a bummer. It's like that. Transformation, first you're going to collapse the head, like so. You're going to close up the chest panels. You're going to now plug these together in order to make it easier for the transformation step later. Next, we're going to move this piece around. And it gets a bit tricky if you don't know what you're doing. So, okay, yeah, so he does have waist articulation. For some reason, it just wasn't working earlier. So I'm going to quickly show up on pipes that does have articulation. I do not know why it wasn't working earlier. I'm pretty sure he still had it. Anyways, the legs move down like this. We're going to pull these to the back, like so. And then collapse the hands onto the sides here. And there we have Huffer, once everything's together, in his vehicle mode. We're going to do the same for pipes in a minute, but quickly just going to show off here that they do have waist articulation, and I think I know what caused that. Basically, because you need to plug it in normally, it does hinder the articulation a tad bit, and unfortunately, just by the way the tab is designed, it will not stay in very well. As you can see there, it does plug out. But the figures do indeed have waist articulation. Anyways, we'll now be back to show both of them in vehicle mode. Anyways, we're back. As you can see, they transfer into these tiny mini hauler trucks, which it was weird that seeing in the Generation 1 cartoon, Huffer was actually able to hold onto Optimus Prime's trailer in one of the episodes of Generation 1. And in another episode, Hoist was able to sit inside as if he was driving it, so I know that G1 is definitely not the best in terms of scale, since they're rushing out episodes, and at the same time, yeah, the quality started to diminish over time, so there are some very weird things that happened in the original cartoon. But other than that, I think these are pretty decent representations, at least for their vehicle modes. Obviously, for the Generation 1 version of Pipes, he did have the smokestacks on the sides of his vehicle mode, so since they're not really present here, it doesn't really work as well, but at least it tries hard to represent what the mold looks like. Both vehicles do feature 6 wheels on the sides, which are hard plastic as normal. They roll pretty decently, with no problems of it otherwise. The blasters can actually sit on top using a little peg up here, so now you got it kind of armed up. The same thing you can do for pipes if you wish to. But from what I could tell, that's all where the blaster can actually be placed on. Otherwise, it just sits off to the side. So that's pretty much it for the vehicle modes. To transfer it back, which we're going to do the same as before, we're going to quickly just show here how they transform. We're going to move the panel, so it looks like that. We're then going to pull apart the legs, open up these panels here and pull them out so we can form the arms. Next, we're going to push this panel down to make it easier to get out of the way, and turn this entire piece around, and then pull down the legs like this. We're going to pull out the head, which can be a little tricky at times. And technically you could just kind of leave the chest panel there, but technically you're supposed to pull these out so that the Autobot insignia on his chest can be seen. And we're just going to, once again, just situate the back piece like that. And that's pretty much it for the Huffer's transformation. I'll be back to talk about my final thoughts on both of the figures. Now, leaving them as standalone figures, they're pretty decent for what they're trying to represent. Obviously, Pipes could have done a lot better with a brand new head sculpt. And it's a bit of a shame since Hasbro Takara went out of their way to at least sculpt a new version of the mold using the Optimus mold to turn it into Huffer. Just that one type of extra feature, including the new head sculpt there, could have made the Pipes figure pop out a lot better than he does now. Alone, it's definitely not the worst figure out on the market, and both of them are pretty cool to play around with. They have some pretty decent articulation for a Legends class style figure, but since the head is the same, it's really hard to think of it as Pipes at times. It's understandable that it didn't have all the smokestacks and various other things, but as long as it had a new head sculpt, I would have been okay with the mold for what it was. But unfortunately, at this time, we're just going to leave it at that. These are probably the best representations we're going to see for Huffer and Pipes from now, or maybe even to its entirety at this point in time. In the near future, it's really hard to see what they're going to do with some of the other Minibots, At this point in time, the only ones that are missing that have yet to get a full-on representation in the Generations line is Brawn, Outback, Sea Spray, and technically Wheelie, but Wheelie is supposedly in one of the listings and most likely will be on its way in the near future. But for now, I think these figures are pretty decent for what they are, and I still highly recommend picking these up if you're a fan of the Minibots, since I don't think we're going to be getting any new versions of them anytime soon. I got Huffer and Pipes, actually I think both at Hasbro Toy Shop. I don't remember where I got Pipes, it's been a long time, but I mean Huffer, but Pipes I did get from Hasbro Toy Shop recently from earlier in 2015, since this video will be uploaded in January. And I highly recommend picking these up, especially if you're a fan of the G1 Minibots. But for now, please comment, subscribe, and check out Hirotaku and the Gideon blog. Also, please check out my Twitter handle under Darkon633, and please check down the other channels down below, including the WW Podcast and more. But for now, I'll be seeing you on YouTube. Bye.